to the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast.
Welcome back. This is the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast, episode number 29. Big week for us to discuss. A lot of stuff coming on the horizon here in terms of the Warzone and in terms of the Warzone Amateur Hour. But before we get to that, I'm going to turn to my co-host, the 10-inch Cowboy, to ask him, as always, how was your week in the Warzone?
Oh, baby. It was good. Working with some new loadouts, as I promised last week that I would, and I have delivered in a sense. Not all, I don't have 10 new loadouts, but I have a couple, and I feel like I'm getting in the right direction. The game is opening up in so many ways that I forgot it could. So things are good on my end, finally. Feeling good. How was your week in the Warzone?
Finally feeling good. He made a promise to our listeners, which I do not take lightly, so I'm extremely pleased to hear that he has delivered on this promise. Look forward to diving into that. In terms of me, I've been riding this wave of love and joy in the Warzone, having a lot more success, though. This week, there was some tough sledding. I don't know what's going on, if it's like summer break and all the fucking kids that normally beat my ass, I'm normally avoiding them on school nights or whatever, and now they're back on there. Because you and I think, no, it wasn't you and I dropped in at one point, which hasn't happened to me lately a lot, but it was one of those times, like, I could have stayed on, probably played another hour, but it was so demoralizing that I just was like, you know what? I'm going to walk away and I'm going to fucking move on, live to fight another day. So that's kind of mixed bag there. But you still having fun, loving the state of the game is really what's most important.
Yeah, and I bet you're just loving it. Just before we dive into specifics of the last week, I have to, I got to give credit where credit is due. You've been playing well. Whenever we get in the Warzone together lately, you have been getting significantly more kills, and I feel like cleaning up the messes that I typically find myself in. So kudos to your gameplay. I just have to let you know.
Well, thank you. I was hoping you were going to bring that up, because particularly I should have clipped it, but there was a moment when we last played, and I know you remember it. The whole team was dead. We encountered like a team of 4 or 3, and I had like a 3v1 there, and I don't even know where these moves came from. I was just like locked in, like, I'm not gonna fucking die to these people is what I told myself. I channeled my inner, like, sweat lord, Z laner. I was moving left and right. I wasn't gonna just give them that easy kill. I fought hard, and that was pretty rewarding. Took down those motherfuckers. We still lost, but that was fun.
Yeah, you've been willing victories, I feel like. Not victories, but maybe like individual battles. You've been willing some kills lately, and it's inspiring to say the least. If you can do it, I know everyone listening to this podcast can.
That's right, because the bar in terms of mental and physical talent with me is certainly low. So if I can leap over that, you guys should be like the Clydesdales, or I don't know what the jumping horses are, but you could do it.
Yeah, I don't know anything about horses.
Well, okay, enough about horses, because that's not what this is about. This is about the Warzone, and on that front, big news, as we teased in the opening. The main thing started off Season 4, which is coming up rapidly, of Warzone Black Ops, but specifically, they teased a little bit of that, what's coming this week. It was the Summer Games Fest was the event, I guess, and so the big news is it's coming June 17th. Season 4, which is only 3 days. So the week of this recording, holy shit, it's coming faster than I thought.
Wait a second. Season 4 is coming this week?
Yeah, June 17th. And the date of this recording being released will be June 14th. So Wednesday night, Thursday night.
Wow. Oh, shit. Does that mean my battle pass is going to reset?
I think so, yeah. So get those double XP tokens popped. Get those levels going.
Oh, shit, I got to make sure I got enough to get the next free one. I got to have 1,000 CP in the bank. I got to check that out, actually, right after this.
All right. Well, yeah, so that's coming on the horizon. No real specifics yet. Again, this was a teaser. They did say full info is coming June 14th, which is probably the date you're listening to us. If you're a loyal fan, if you're not, if you're an amateur fan, then maybe you're waiting later in the week, but that's fine. But the big things, they released like a little trailer basically, and there wasn't a ton of Verdansk footage, but there were really two specific things that stood out. Number one is that there are some changes coming to Verdansk 84. It looks like in terms of the storyline, a fucking satellite comes crashing down to Earth, landing in Verdansk. It looks like farmland, I guess specifically, there's going to be like a new point of interest, which I'm all for, as we've talked about. Farmland, not exactly friendly to our type. So that's one of the big changes coming.
Wait, this is so bizarre that it's happening this week. I thought this was so much further away. It's actually happening now.
Kind of snuck up on us there. I think really we were just enjoying season 3 so much. Like we said, or at least like I said, which was, not due to any sort of financial compensation I'm receiving, but season 3, I think, has been the high water mark of Warzone as long as I can remember. So,
God, it's like so like once I now I know that you're getting paychecks from Activision and Raven. It's so easy to see it. It's crazy. It's like if anybody is listening to this and doesn't connect the dots, it's like it's such a no-brainer. Get me on that payroll, man. Get me on the payroll.
I'll see what I can do. But anyways, the other big news, which is going to be really of interest to us here in the Amateur Hour community, seeing as it's part of our catchphrase, is there going to be a new gulag.
Oh, shit. So there's a new gulag this week coming out.
This week coming out, baby. So wave goodbye to this terrible,
oh my God,
dark, dimly lit dungeon basement situation, which I've been absolutely getting destroyed. Like if you were to go and look at my percentage of wins compared to the old gulags, it's been fucking horrible. I think I'm probably maybe 25% or less success rate in this current gulag.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's basically it's going to be the same old daddy with a new fucking spank. You know what I mean?
Wow. Interesting analogy. I mean, you're not hopeful like that you might have some newfound glory? I mean, I guess looking back, like which gulag was your favorite?
I think the first one actually was my favorite. I enjoyed the showers a lot more than I enjoyed. They were showers, right? That's what that was.
Yeah, that was the showers, baby.
Yeah, I liked the showers a lot more. I felt like I was more, of a force to be reckoned with in the showers as opposed to like I don't even know what you would call this new one. What is it? It's like a car factory?
It's like a weird staged, area. I don't even know. Now, the question is, would you say that first gulag was also the one you were the most successful at? Is that why it's your favorite?
I was far more successful in the first one, even though I was more of an amateur back then than this new, like kind of like L-shaped elbow triangle cornered gulag. Yeah, I have not played very well in this one. I haven't found my groove yet in this one. You know what I mean?
Yes, 100% agree. Now, I haven't dug too much into people like they've taken the frames of the gulag because it was literally a few seconds clip. It looks like the new gulag being showed. The only reason you could really tell it's the gulag is because you saw people in the rafters, spectating as always, throwing the fucking rocks. So we eagerly await the details on that, though I've heard people saying it might be based off of a previous multiplayer map, and they were saying it looks like it's going to be more back to that whole symmetrical kind of layout that the first gulag had. So hopefully some relief because we spend a lot of time there.
Yeah, and while we're talking about season 4 and the satellite falling into farmland and the storyline, what in the fuck does the satellite have to do with anything? Is there any, can you connect any dots for me here? Because I'm still we got a ship from the past that has arrived. We've fallen backwards in time. A satellite is now falling. We had a 80s action figure. Like, where is all this tying in? Is there any through line?
Completely lost with the storyline. We did have one listener reach out and say he recommended going on YouTube, and there's a compilation of people breaking down what's going on. I tried that. I still feel confused, disconnected. So, I appreciate that shout out to the listener, but you're going to have to break it down a little bit more into X's and O's for these types. But yes, that's the storyline. Still utterly confused. Again, they keep teasing this master plan, but nobody has any idea what the fuck the payoff is going to be.
I wonder, I think that obviously you are, and I mean, we talk about this shit all the time, at least once a week, if not 5 times more than that. We're following these storylines. Like, and I think you're on top of the cutscenes. I think you've seen them all for at least the last 6 months. What I don't understand is, one, yes, it's so random and there's no storyline, there's no through line. What I actually think is maybe they're banking on a majority of their audience that isn't as invested necessarily in a time sense to watch all of these. So they're shitting out these like one-off cutscene movie trailer type things, knowing that like the people that watch it aren't necessarily seeing all the other ones. You know what I'm saying? So they think it's like this, oh shit, maybe our audience will think like there's this crazy cool new thing happening, and we'll cover it in mystery, and they'll think there's all this other stuff going on, when in reality there's nothing else going on. They're just trying to confuse them enough to engage them in playing the game. Maybe. Do you see what I'm getting at?
It's an interesting theory. If that's really the strategy, it's a bold one, because you're basically like, yeah, just make it seem complicated and deep. They're not really paying attention, but they'll be wowed by it. Give them like a soundbite or two.
Exactly. I mean, maybe they are, people's attention spans are so short now. Maybe they think they wow them with a couple of, fist hit the table, explosion, Adler gets up off a table and all of a sudden he's okay. And then like, the heavy music, and maybe they think that that's enough for the community,
We're literally running out of time though, because our next piece of material we're going to talk about is the new Call of Duty coming out, which isn't going to, I don't think, connect to this storyline at all. So it's like, this whole teasing out of this master plan, it better fucking come to fruition soon, baby, because we're running out of time.
Well, it makes me happy that even though you're clearly receiving paychecks from Activision and Raven, they cannot buy your morality when it comes to storytelling. So for that, I commend you.
Wow. Well, maybe they bumped me up to story director. Well, actually, never mind. Let's not get into that. Let's talk about the main news on the plate here, going to be affecting the future of Warzone, and that is, we've had some conflicting reports. So months back when we teased the leaks, because again, this is your bastion of news and updates for Warzone. We talked about, it was rumored the new Call of Duty was set in World War II. Then a few weeks back, people were saying, no, that news was debunked. Well, guess what? It seems like it's 99 official. Call of Duty 2021, which is tentatively being referred to as Call of Duty Vanguard, is going to be set in World War II. It's going to have a campaign, multiplayer, and zombies, and it's going to be full-on integration with Warzone.
How does that work, integration with Warzone? Is it in like the way that Cold War has been integrated? What do you mean integration?
Well, I mean that Warzone will continue to go on. We'll have a new kind of transition into a new set. Now, in terms of specifically, they've said there will be a whole new Warzone map.
Wow.
Which will feature World War II themed vehicles and more.
Wow.
And apparently, from what I'm hearing, the scale of it, the size of it, it's supposed to be a massive new map.
Wow. I didn't know that. That's exciting. That's game-changing shit right there.
An additional detail is it's going to be set in the Pacific theater of World War II, and as I said, it is significantly larger than Warzone's current Verdansk environment.
Wow. I wonder if there's going to be any water interaction now. If it's in the Pacific theater, obviously there's a lot that happened in World War II in the Pacific theater, but, there was obviously a lot of fights on the water. I could imagine maybe there's some kind of swimming. I don't know. This changes everything, maybe. This is really exciting. And I don't know if you know this, when is this set to drop? When is this going to happen?
It looks like a holiday, so likely the end of the year.
Got it.
But again, we're going to keep the finger on the pulse here, keeping you all updated, but it seems like positive news. That's an interesting note about the water and the fact that they specifically said it in the Pacific. I'm inclined to agree with you. I think that's going to be our next level. It's like, maybe we get some crazy battleship to battleship shit out on the water, like the circle pushes out of the fucking land and you got to make the move there. I don't know, a lot of potential. How do you feel though about the whole World War II like old school gun thing going on there?
I like it. Again, as people know, I wasn't really into video games prior to Warzone, but I do know that Call of Duty is, it is a video game that's based off of, prior wars, right? Like they've done World War One, they've done that's kind of their thing. So it makes sense to do a World War II. I'm surprised they haven't done a World War II style game yet, or have they?
They've done several. I mean, like you said early on, I think the one of the most well-known Call of Duty moments was you stormed the beach of Normandy. You were at D-Day in one of those really early CODs. I remember playing it. I think it was the original PlayStation. It felt like I was in the movie. I've gone back and rewatched it, and it's like anything you rewatch technology-wise, like the graphics are horrible now. But very exciting stuff.
Like in the movie, you mean Saving Private Ryan, the intro?
Yeah, it was that, but it was a video game version of that, which, again, at the time when you're playing it, you're like, this is so realistic. It feels like I'm there. But now when you go back and look at it, it's like fucking barely 3D. So that was their bread and butter. Then they kind of, Modern Warfare was their very first game where they actually left that setting and moved to present day and really kind of invented this whole storyline with, you know, different factions and narratives and introduced all the modern weaponry, because it previously used to be just the old school gun. So that's what kind of where I'm most interested to see how it works, is like, we're going to have like a M13 brand new machine gun that can spit out however many hundreds of rounds. And then on the flip side, somebody's going to have like one of these Thompson single fire rifles. Like, that's going to be an interesting dynamic, right?
Oh, 100%. But I didn't actually think there would be an integration where they would keep the leftover weapons and then bring in new ones like that. Like, I was under the assumption that they were going to wipe the slate clean, and it was going to be a whole new set of weapons that everyone would have to level up from scratch.
I don't think that's going to be the case, but the one very encouraging note they had, and it was actually very interesting, is the report states that Warzone and Vanguard's integration will be significantly better than Cold War. And they said the reason is Sledgehammer has had, quote, a lot more time to get ready for it. So it sounds like those worlds are going to be colliding. I'm just not quite sure how they're going to make that work. I would be okay if they wipe all the weapons clean, but I think from a, you know, integrity standpoint, about people have paid money for these blueprints, all of that shit. You've spent all this time leveling it up. I don't know. I think that could ruffle too many feathers.
That's interesting. I didn't think about that. But yeah, if you were spending money on blueprints, that would be a pain in the ass. But yeah, maybe there's some transition where they could also be applied to, maybe you get credits and it goes towards like the blueprints, new blueprints you want. I don't know. I don't know how they do that kind of shit, but it seems, yeah, I mean, they're going to obviously have to, you can't be using a fucking like
FFAR. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like in, you know, like the Pacific Theater, but I don't know. I don't know. That's really interesting. Or maybe they just rebrand the weapons. Maybe the weapons still have the same firing dynamics, same, like, you know, all the whatever the, like, not attributes, but like, you know, the time to kill, the damage profile, like all that kind of shit. It's like the same weapon, but they like slap a new skin on it. So like the Street Sweeper shotgun looks something more like a World War II vintage shotgun. You know, the FFAR looks more like a vintage short range AR weapon. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. A lot to chew on, though. As you can see, a lot of uncertainty, but a lot of potential. So that's going to be our big focus. But the future of Warzone, it looks bright. It looks promising. This wasn't like a 1-year experience where they're just going to sweep us all under the rug. Our podcast and our media empire is going to crumble before our eyes. Doesn't look like that's the case. So I salute that.
Well, let's just also take all of this with a grain of salt as well. Not too long ago, we were promised something new and exciting in a brand new map. We got a reskin that was fun, and they've been doing fun stuff for the game, but let's not forget what they've done to our mental state with the promises and the letdowns. Okay, let's just not forget that as we move throughout the year. They're trying to get us hooked so we stay for another 8 months, and I know exactly what they're doing. All this other BR talk out there, I know what they're doing. Let's just keep level heads, okay?
Wow. Okay. Certainly reminded of the failures there, thanks to the 10-inch Cowboy. We will keep those in mind. We will tread lightly. We will not get our hopes up, though. Again, I love the state of the game. I'm having fun playing it, but I'm excited for where things are headed. I think that new big map, that's, to me, the most exciting thing. The other shit, I just hope they make it work, really. But again, that's where we're at. But interestingly enough, speaking of map reskins, now, I don't know if you remember this, but it was actually when we were all getting ready for new maps coming for Warzone, it was rumored it was going to be like this new Ural Mountains map, which was, I guess, a previous multiplayer map, and they said they were basically extending on that. It was going to be a huge thing, and then that never came to fruition, as we've seen. It's all Verdansk 84. Well, this week, I saw that some leakers, they claim they have actual in-game footage of the unreleased map, and I went and watched it. It was interesting to see. I don't know if I'm convinced this is like 100% legitimate leak, but other leaks we've covered on the show have been true. So you might want to check that out. It was interesting. It was basically going to be a full-on Warzone map that seemed like it was really all outdoors. I didn't see many structures. I certainly didn't see like a downtown type area.
I didn't see that. What'd you call Ural Mountains?
Ural, I think it's spelled URAL.
Okay.
But check it out. It was kind of, I don't know if you're that familiar with PUBG, but it seemed more in line with like a PUBG type of map. Would you be interested in, or like a H1Z1, I guess, would be more relevant to you, very much wide open.
I loved H1Z1's map, but and everyone knows I don't really do well in short range gun battles inside. So I'm all about the open atmosphere. But let me clarify this for me, because I'm not sure if I caught this. This in-game footage, is this on Verdansk? They're like going to add a new section of the map?
No, this was supposed to be like, I guess it got scrapped.
Oh.
The rumor is basically like, Warzone was going to launch this brand new map, and then something happened where it didn't work out, and so ultimately they just reskinned Verdansk to 84 as the new map.
Gotcha.
But this was claiming like, exists, it's out there. Don't know if it's real, don't know if it's legit, but wanted to cover it on the show.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, yeah, I'll take a peek at the Oral Mountains, whatever.
The Oral Mountains, Ural Mountains, whatever it may be, we didn't get a mouthful of that. But this week, this is the Warzone Amateur Hour, but we got to talk about the state of BRs as a whole, because they're all relating, they're all interacting, and we actually, weeks back when we talked about like, what's the change, what's motivating the changes behind Activision, you theorized, it's this competition's coming on the horizon. Well, this week specifically, we had big news on that front as Battlefield and Halo made official unveilings of their new offerings. And interestingly enough, we can say now, as of date of recording, that it looks like a Battle Royale version is not coming to either game.
Well, I think just to take that on the nose immediately, the first thing that strikes me is that it's great for the podcast and the branding, because we don't have to change our name if Warzone were to go under. That's fantastic. Gotta love that this is still the king for the Warzone Amateur Hours community's sake. Two, interesting tactic. I don't understand why they wouldn't want to go after the obvious demand of a Battle Royale map. And in a new game, it sounds like that would be so much fun. It's obviously there's a massive audience there that wants it, needs it. So it's very surprising. I don't know if it's like a resource restriction, like they just can't actually make the game. I mean, I'm not a game developer over here. I should be, but I'm not. I don't understand why they wouldn't. And it's interesting that both of them, both Halo and Battlefield, decided in the same week to announce that. Interesting. What do you think?
I'm with you. I'm actually incredibly surprised. I was expecting both would have it. At the very least, Battlefield I thought would for sure. Halo could see was on the fence, and I remember seeing some quotes earlier this year where they were like, the developers aren't that into BR, and I don't expect it. But Battlefield, I figured like that's when it comes to the two franchises in terms of first-person shooters, war-based, gunplay, it's Call of Duty and it's Battlefield. Like those are the two fucking horses side by side that and it seems like when one does something, the other usually does it. But not the case this time. And so as you said, Warzone, it basically will remain the king of battle royales when it comes to first-person shooters. And like you also said, there's a huge fucking audience out there. Like Fortnite is still thriving because it's a battle royale. There's something, I actually, not to divulge too much, but I did some thinking on this. I was like, you know what? Why is it that the battle royale is so appealing? And I really think in the end, it goes back to our opening episode of why we play Warzone. It's the thrill of the victory. When you're playing Battlefield 2042, it's called. It's going to be 100 in 28 players in a single match, or 164 or something like that. So the issue is, let's say it's a kill race. You win that kill race, it's not really that validating because literally you're just playing, shooting people, and then the game ends when that threshold is lifted. But when it comes to a battle royale, it's about that survival. You have to make those decisions. You have you're an army of one in many cases in that, and you decide the outcome, and you just don't get the same. So that I predict that it's a mistake on both these games' part. How do you feel about that?
I agree. I think that the thrill of a victory in a battle royale setup, it's just so ripe for explosive moments, it's so much more gratifying, I feel like, to win that than any multiplayer style game, or you know what I'm saying? It's just ripe for just such good feelings. But You know, I had a thought while you were speaking. I wonder if they're intimidated by Warzone. I wonder if they think that the market share has already been grabbed. I wonder if they think that they have such a stronghold on that audience and that market. Like, why even try? Like, we would have to pump so much money into grabbing just a portion. Who's going to jump ship? Like, I wonder if they're intimidated by it.
I don't know. That's an interesting theory. The reactions that I'm seeing is most people are disappointed. I think a lot of people are trying to hide their disappointment, and they're like, oh, it's cool. Because Halo, they did announce, to their credit, the multiplayer is free to play. So if you have an Xbox or a PC, you're going to be able to hop into that, give it a try. Battlefield is going to be pay for it. It doesn't even have a single player campaign, so it's purely like a multiplayer experience.
Yeah.
But from seeing the trailer, or they had gameplay footage revealed today, 90% of it was all about the environment. It was about the vehicles. It was about kind of the ambiance they created, which, to give them credit, it looks really fun. I'll probably check it out. But in terms of sticking around, in terms of gunplay, I think it's going to be lacking. I don't think they can match COD. And I think the real final point there is, it's an interesting note because everybody shits on Warzone, especially the Cowboy. And they act like it's just so easy, like, oh, dude, when this Battlefield fucking Battle Royale comes out, it's going to be left in the dust. But it's like, that's a pretty, kind of based on a big assumption there that, like, oh, you just slap some things together and you got a good Battle Royale. I think it really illustrates that, yes, Warzone has many, many flaws, but in the end, like, the concept, the way they've built it and designed it clearly is working because we're still fucking coming back to it.
I know. I mean, those paychecks must be sweet, but I'll say one last thing. Developing, and to your point, developing a battle royale that's on the scale of Warzone, that can compete with Warzone and have that many players interacting across the globe at one time, that is a massive shift in a I can imagine a game developer's, like, business model or whatever, however you want to put that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is such a massive new wing to something. And I think it's important to remember, somebody really wise once told me, the answers to all of your questions is money. Money is the answer to everything. And if they don't think, these are all businesses, the Battlefields, the Halos, the CODs, they're all businesses. At the end of the day, that's all that matters. If they don't think that they're going to be able to compete and make a profit with the investment that they put in creating a dope battle royale, they're just fucking not going to do it. And I think that at this point, it may be too tough to actually compete.
But on the flip side, I guess that argument makes sense for Battlefield because, like, it's like, okay, well, yes, if it's a free-to-play battle royale, which all battle royales are, because you have to have that large player base for them to thrive, how are they going to monetize that? But then you look at Halo, it's a free-to-play multiplayer, so it already has the free-to-play component. So it has the downside there. How are they going to monetize that versus a battle royale? I don't know.
I don't know. How does Halo monetize right now? In-game purchases?
Well, previously they sold copies. It's a $60 game. You fucking sell that.
Yeah, but now it's not, right? It's a free game.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, if it all comes down to money, why would Halo leave that out? If they're offering a free-to-play multiplayer, why not give that little battle royale a la carte on the side, baby?
Yeah, because that's the exact point I'm saying. That little a la carte battle royale on the side isn't a la carte little battle royale on the side. I bet you it's far more difficult to create and implement and sustain a battle royale mode version of your game than the multiplayer version. You know what I'm saying?
I see. So it's about, like, continual upkeep of the game. That makes sense because, as we've seen, they have, new patches every week, new blueprints, and I think Call of Duty really has their finger, that's their signature thing, is the blueprints. I don't think these other games would want to rip that off directly. So yeah, maybe you're right. I don't know. I'd love to hear.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm speaking out of my ass. I know nothing about the video game world. I'm just imagining that it's fucking hard, dude. Like, the fact that I can, well, let me switch that around. The fact that somebody can snipe me, from across the map at 400 meters with their car, headshot me as I'm in full sprint running, and that person is sitting in Malaysia and I'm in the United States, and within like a nanosecond that registers and like, it's crazy, the technology. It's fucking crazy if you really think about it. So yeah, it's probably not as simple as we think it is.
I'd love, though, to get some insights. I hope down the line we get maybe more of an explanation.
If there's a listener out there, we're starting to get quite a few listeners around the globe. If there's any listeners out there that have any insight, or, like, say you work for, let's just say, Call of Duty Warzone, and know anything about the back end that we would find fascinating, we would fucking love to ask you a few questions on the pod. Am I right?
Yeah, we are hungry for actual information because right now, all we really got, baby, is speculation.
Yeah. We're good at speculating. You can give us that.
Okay, well, we talked about it early on, having a little bit more success, getting a little bit more sweaty in the zone. Weeks back, when you talked to me on here, I was really down in the dumps. I was really getting shit on. My KD was plummeting after finally finding some rhythm. And it wasn't the weapons. I couldn't blame it on the weapons because they were all balanced out. My loadout was fine. It was just I wasn't having success, and it was fucking pissing me off. Well, this week, I took a step back, and I really tried to, crystallize in my mind, like, what was it? And I think it's really all about playing smarter is so much more important for us shitty players that can't get ourselves into bad situations. We can't burst into that room and, oh, there's a guy there, I'll take him down. For me, at least, doesn't work. So what I really did is specifically in terms of playing smarter is I've stopped making like the obvious play. Now, let me give you an example. You down a guy, and he's in like one of those little portable rooms. Now, the obvious play, what the teammates are expecting is you're going to make a fucking beeline in through that front door where you just shot the guy, and you're going to go there. So what are they doing? They're waiting for that. And that was the play I was making previously. So this week it was like, no, I'm going to get creative. My friends are going right. Oh, maybe I'll go left. Or yeah, I just downed that guy there. Well, now I'm going to jump down, loop around, go underneath him, try and catch him off guard. Having way more success, finding way more easy kills. What do you think about that?
I think it's the smarter way to play. Yeah. And the issue is that it's easier said than done. When you're in the moment, it's like you down a guy in that doorway. Your amateur instinct is telling you, you got to kill, run through the door, go finish him off. You know what I mean? But the issue is that it's so hard in the moment to be smart and to train your brain to be creative. You know what I mean? I haven't quite gotten there. It sounds like you're starting to take that step.
Yes, and I've kind of noticed that with you is I think really it's a thirst. Is when you get that down, you're thirsty for that finish. You want to get that kill. You want to see that number show up on your little top right. So when your buddies look at the pause screen, they look like, oh, 10-Inch Cowboy ain't worth the sack of shit. He got a fucking kill.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, you're going to get more kills the more patient you are. And I've learned this from really watching the streamers is like, if you get it down, don't worry about that guy. He's not going to be a problem for 30 seconds. Even if he has self-revive, he's still going to have to self-revive his ass, and then he's going to have to put on his 3 plates, and it's like, if somebody self-revives and you find them, you can just blow on them, and they're going to fucking be down again. So I think the real issue is, like, as soon as you get the down, don't worry about that guy. Focus on your next possible threat. If you can finish him, sure, but do it safely. But, I mean, these are some tips here from an amateur that might help some other fellow amateurs.
I think it's great, yeah. I think that's something that we need to remind ourselves of more when we're dropping in, you know? Don't make the obvious play.
Don't make the obvious play, exactly. And finally, the other thing that I've really had to let go of is like the FOMO, the fear of missing out. Like, you know it when you play with the squads, especially the people that push, is like they get involved before you're there and they're like, I'm pushing, get in here. And then it's like your instinct is to just rush in and try and help. And so many times I'd end up as the first guy dead. Well, this week I was kind of like, you know what? It hurts. It's really painful to hear my friend on the mic screaming to me, pleading for me to help them. And then I just listen to them die. But that's the war, baby. That's part of the war zone. You know, that's their own fault.
Yeah, that was me this week. I watched you do that several times. I'm glad that you're having the game of your life while you're not picking me up while I'm down. Thank you.
Hey, you know what? My teammates, they might be better than me, but if they're not going to make the smart play, I'm not going to fucking cost my ass because of it. I was doing that way too much before. It's like, if you want to push the building, then you're going to have to fucking wait till I'm ready to do it. If you want to go ahead and now you're dead and there's 2 guys on your body waiting for me to come in that door, the old me would have ran right through that door and gotten murked so that you wouldn't feel judgy and be like, oh, at least he died with me. New me is like, you know, I'm going to hang back. I might pick off one of these motherfuckers, maybe even get 2.
Loud and clear. Loud and clear.
All right. Well, that's really the gameplay discussion. That's really the Warzone news. But as we teased at the opening, we got some big news on the Warzone Amateur Hour Media Empire front. Now, first and foremost, I want to give a thanks out to all the listeners from the very beginning that have been reaching out, interacting with us, requesting to play with us, dropping in with us. Again, we've had many requests to play. We apologize to those we haven't played with, but we've had tons of great experiences. We're trying to get through as many people we want, but we want everyone to stay connected, you know? Between these podcast episodes, we're building a community, and in that regard, we have an official announcement. So drum roll here, baby. Oh yeah, the Warzone Amateur Hour Discord is officially live. We're going to be posting an invite link in the episode details and tweeting that out. Check it out. Join the Discord.
Yeah, I'm still wrapping my mind around what a Discord is and how to use it, but you damn well know I have an account on there. I work from home, so I'll just be sitting at my computer all day long trying to figure out how to do it. I'm there, man.
That's what my next question was. Since we talked last, have you figured out what a Discord actually is?
I downloaded the desktop application. I created a administrator account in the Warzone Amateur Hour Discord. I have the 10InchCowboy. That's me. I will be in there. And I guess I'm just going to be, chatting it up. It's kind of like a I don't know, like one of those old sex rooms, right? Like you just like meet people and chat.
I can't speak to that. But I will say this, I've looked at a lot of Discords. I did a lot of studying to figure it out. Now, I'm not going to claim we're on par with some of these other Discords that have like 50 channels and they got administrators and moderators and all this craziness. That's not where we're at right now, but we got to start somewhere. So right now, it's going to be your home for announcements about Warzone, announcements about the podcast. We're going to be posting all of our video content. It's going to be immediately posted there, so you can keep up with that. And the main thing is we got an open chat room for our community people to discuss the podcast, to discuss Warzone. We also have a channel where you can pose questions or topics of discussion. And finally, most importantly, is we got a squad channel where if you're looking for some buddies to drop into the zone, you can find those fellow amateurs there, sync up, get it going.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I really like about this is before we started, the podcast and it was just us and our friends playing Warzone, we had a text thread, there's like 10 of us in this Warzone text thread. And it was constantly like, I'm hopping on for a lunch game. I'm, after work, like who's on, anybody on? And it was a great way to like stay in touch and see who's on. Cause sometimes you're not thinking about it. And then all of a sudden you get a message. And it's like, oh shit, they're on. I'll fucking hop on. That sounds fun. Well, now the Discord, you got a community there. You can say, hey, I'm hopping on. Is anyone on? It's almost like a giant text thread in a sense.
Yes, and we have some more exciting things that are going to be announced first on the Discord. We're hoping to organize a custom game for our listeners to get in so we can drop in, play together, murk each other, see really who's the king of the amateur, so to speak. That's coming down the line. But additionally, that's not it in terms of announcements here for the Warzone Amateur Hour. Now, we previewed that the World Series of Warzone is coming on June 22nd and 23rd. Well, we have decided, as we've talked about, like, no offense to the people that do this. I know they've dedicated many, many years to the community of Call of Duty and they're on the scene. But we feel the commentary, especially for an event of this caliber, it's just not lacking. The passion isn't there. The insight and the relevance isn't there. So what are we going to do? We're going to go back and we're going to take the recordings from the World Series of Warzone. We're going to put together our versions of how we break it down, basically giving you a recap. So if you want to follow that, stay tuned. We're really excited about that.
Yeah, we feel that the amateurs are not represented on the world stage.
Amen.
So we're taking it upon ourselves to announce over, the biggest streamers in the world from an amateur perspective. Because
as we've said, you can learn a lot. And there's a lot of relatable experiences. Now, as kind of a preview to this event, earlier this past week, one of the pros out there in Call of Duty, TP, I think it was, he hosted his own tournament. And as we've said, the majority of tournaments involve public servers, public games, it's kill races. Well, this one wasn't that. They did a mini Battle Royale where they basically took 50 pros, put them on trios, I think it was, threw them into Verdansk all together, and they played it out. And it was pretty, not refreshing, but it was like, I saw some pros that are used to dropping 15, 20 kills just getting absolutely wiped off the map. And it was kind of like a moment where I was like, wish I could say to them, like, welcome to our world, motherfucker.
Welcome to our world, bitch. Yeah, I like that a lot. I watched some of that as well. And it was, you forget that, yeah, they're pros, but they're going up against guys like us. So they look like pros. And not to take anything away from them, every day of the week, they will slaughter guys like us. but putting them against each other, I think it just is such a, it's like kind of watching like a fish out of water a little bit. You know what I mean? Because they're struggling to compete against the best in the world. And you really see the game. I mean, the level of, you talk about like, you know, not being predictable, not making the obvious play. Like those guys are, it's fun to watch them do that against each other.
Yeah, incredible. I love that. As we've said way back, you know, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. So I feel that's what this World Series of Warzone is really going to dictate. So we're going to be recapping it, breaking it down, giving you some entertainment, enjoying it, learning lots. And yeah, I don't know what else to say.
It's going to be great. I'm really excited about it. You know, if there's nothing better than, or if there's nothing we can't do, how do I say that? You're going to have to edit this out. Actually, I lost my train of thought. Fuck it. Let's move on.
Okay, but yeah, that's the big news there. Stay tuned. As we said, kind of a slow week in terms of, you know, concrete news, but a lot on the horizon to chew on. So get that appetite going. Oh, wait. Christ. We didn't have you preview your loadouts. So
I know. I'm sitting here with my little piece of paper. I wrote all of my loadouts out that I built, and I was just...
Well, you didn't put it on the agenda.
I know. I was waiting for... I don't know. You were so excited about all these announcements. I didn't want to interrupt. You know, I'm just sitting here with, you know, a little piece of paper in my hand, but I guess I could just dive right into it. Basically, all right. So for those of you that are listening for the first time, those of you that are whatever listening often, basically my go-to loadout for the past, I would say 4 months has been my long range weapon has been my car. I love sniping. It's been so fun, but I've kind of used it as a crutch. And I haven't been experimenting with any kind of new ARs necessarily, longer range ARs. I've been sticking with the car, which I wanted to switch up. And then my real issue is that I haven't been able to find a solid SMG that I feel is a great short range weapon that I'm comfortable with. So I decided to start from absolute scratch. And I actually went online. You know, I watched a couple of videos just to get an idea of what was out there, trying to figure out what my SMG should be. And I broke it down into a couple of options. Basically, there's the Cold War MP5, which I saw a lot of people running, and it seemed to have a really good TTK. It's super mobile. It just seemed like a good option, and I actually had it leveled up for some reason. I don't know how, but I had it leveled up. Maybe it's like 30, so I thought I could try that out. So I basically started with the Cold War MP5, which I did really like. I think if I get that leveled up to a certain level, I think that would be a great short-range weapon to pair with a great AR. So the Cold War MP5 is at the top of the list, but I also had the Modern Warfare MP5 fully maxed out, level 55 or whatever it is, because I've had that one. That was one of the first guns short-range weapons I ever ran in the Warzone. So I had the Modern Warfare MP5 already leveled up, so I put that in a loadout as well. And then I'm trying to think from scratch, but after reading all of these things and looking at these videos, and with, you know, it's hard to separate my own experience playing the game, I really like the MAC-10. I always felt that I just love the movement of the MAC-10. I love its mobility. I like how it fucking shoots really fast. I think that helps a lot with my aiming because I can miss and get back on him and it's still slapping him, you know what I mean? So the MAC-10 was something that I really, really, really wanted to try. So those were my kind of base three, both of the MP5s, the MAC-10, and then my dream weapon, which I realized I don't have unlocked still, is the Street Sweeper. You need 15 matches in which you kill 3 or more people with a shotgun to unlock it. I am currently 0 out of 15 in that category, so I don't foresee myself getting that anytime soon, but that seems like a dope weapon, and that's something I would pair with a longer range AR if I had it unlocked, but unfortunately that's not on the table. So boom, I had both MP5s and the MAC-10.
All right.
So that was my SMG situation. But then, and that's still a question mark, I still want to level both the Cold War MP5 up. I got the MAC-10 maxed out. I got the Modern Warfare MP5 maxed out, but I want that Cold War MP5 maxed out. I'm thinking that'll be my go-to SMG, but I came to an epiphany when it came to the ARs, because let me just break this down for you. There was several ARs that I knew that I wanted to fuck with, basically. There was the AMAX, there's the AK-47, which I know you love, the Cold War AK-47, the FARA, and then my old friend, the Kilo, which was one of the first weapons I really fell in love with when I played over a year ago, was the Kilo. There's also the FFAR, which you would put in the AR category. But again, I had been relying on the FFAR and the car for so long. I didn't want to just go back to the FFAR. I wanted to try something new. And I wanted that long range AR that I knew I could control. So the AMAX, my AMAX is at a level 6 right now. I'm not about to invest the time into an AMAX when I know that my recoil control is absolute dog shit. So I decided, fuck the AMAX, I'm not doing it. It's just not going to happen. I'm a controller player. Everything I've seen, it's just not going to work out for me. So I said, fuck the AMAX. I took that right off the list. But everything else I gave a solid try. I gave the AK, the FARA, and the Kilo full attention, played them in games, and this is what I found. The AK-47, I know that you love it, and I'm sure that the short-range model, which I still haven't been dropped by you and played with in a game, I'm sure it's great in the short range. But long range, the AK-47, the recoil is just too hard for me. I wasn't able to hit shots from like the 50 to 70 meter range. And I know that's probably just my shooting that is shitty, and that's why I couldn't hit those shots. But still, that means it's not the gun for me. So I'm passing on the AK-47 for the long range build. The FARA, I had it very, very highly leveled up. And I was really excited about the FARA. So I dove in, played a couple games with the FARA, but for some reason, it just wasn't clicking for me. I'm not sure what it was. It wasn't necessarily the recoil. I don't know, maybe it had a slower like fire rate. I don't know what was going on. It just didn't seem, I wasn't like, this is my gun. I wasn't feeling it. You know, I wasn't.
It didn't speak to you.
Yeah, I wasn't getting it on. So I skipped the FARA and then I went to the Kilo and I found it. The Kilo was my new weapon. It's back, baby. The Kilo, I think, is going to be my long-range AR loadout. It's so easy to control. It has great, I guess low would be the better word, low recoil. You know, it felt so much more comfortable. It's so user-friendly. I feel like it's an amateur's friend, that gun.
Wow. Well, there it was. We tasked him with homework, and he delivered A+ marks from the instructor here, from what I'm hearing. I love it. You know, I'm disappointed you didn't take a liking to the Cold War AK-47, but ultimately I'm damn proud that you did some exploration and you trusted yourself. You said, you know what? I'm not going to let the sweat lords and the TTK sway me towards something. I'm going to find what fits with me. And I think that's the crucial aspect of finding success in this game, is finding the guns that work for you. So it's the Kilo, and you're still, I mean, let's just talk about SMGs. If I'm going to be, you know, the psychologist psychoanalyzing this, it seems like you really like that mobility, you like the high fire rate, and you like the fast ADS. And all three of those SMGs you talked about offer that. So you know what you're looking for.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. I really like mobility. I really like TTK, and I really love the low ADS, 100%. And I know that everyone loves all of that, of course. But for me, I find myself in the shittiest situations when I'm inside of a house and I can't turn fast enough. And all of a sudden, I'm like, I need something quick where I can move. And it's basically, I can't blame it on the ADS. I can't blame it on those things. I need that for my own sanity. You know what I mean? I need to look myself in the mirror at the end of a session and say, you suck, it wasn't the gun. And I feel like these guns allow me to do that.
You suck, it wasn't the gun. Well, use that soundbite if you need. So it sounds like, okay, you got the primary weapon checked off the box. You can build your loadouts around the Kilo, but keep exploring with that SMG until you find the one that really speaks to you.
Yeah, I think my game plan is to level up the Cold War MP5. Once I get that, enough into that, I'll figure out if I want that or the MAC-10. And then I'll also run the car at times. I'm not giving up on that. I still love the car. The car is a great, fun weapon. If I'm feeling like sniping, I'll go to it. But I think my primary is going to be a Kilo paired with either that Cold War MP5 or MAC-10.
Well, get out there and explore, but I don't want to discourage you because Season 4 is this week, which means we're going to be getting some new weapons, although they didn't tease that many.
I know, that's the fucked up part. I knew this was going to happen. As soon as I fucking put in the time and effort and figure it out, they're going to pull the fucking rug out from underneath me.
Well, I'm confident that won't be the case, or at least hoping so, because as we've said, they're really striving towards the weapon balance. We did see several guns unveiled during Season 3. None of them broke the game. None of them became, the meta must-go-to. A lot of them were even just ignored. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm proud of you. I'm excited to drop in with you this week. It's been a jam-packed episode for our listeners. Excited about what's ahead. But that is going to do it for us this week on the Warzone Amateur Hour podcast. Thank you all so much for dropping in. Please like, subscribe wherever you get your podcast. More importantly, join our brand new Discord. Get chatting, get communicating. Let's get this community going and blossoming. And we will keep you updated on what's coming next. But until we talk to you next time,
Good luck in the new gulag.
good luck in the gulag, whether new or old. Don't blow it.
See you on Discord.